call it that. You know, a bit of consulting, a bit of sales, a bit of this, a bit of that. And I'm still doing that. You know, whether it's invoicing, collections, I have my, like I said, I think my title should really be country manager and not director of sales. Right now I'm doing a bit of everything. So I'm definitely not worried about having to do a bit of everything in a scale up.
Yeah. Well, we are, just to let you know, for the North America region and also on a global scale, but I am actually looking for a VP of finance to join the Toronto team, who will be looking after the whole of North America from and setting up that finance infrastructure, and then also managing the kind of, I suppose, the global sort of transaction team, which is about in finance. There's probably about 30 in the Philippines. So, you know, they are investing in some, some big people, and those, and that, for instance, that VP of finance sitting in that role what we want them to do is, once they've set up all the tax structures and the infrastructure piece, and obviously the banks and etc., which they've already got most of that set up, is actually working with you on, you know, things like analytics and insights, but we also want this particular person to be quite analytical and provide insights as well, especially to the executive team, because this role is the eyes and ears on that whole client success channel globally. So, you know, that's another thing to mention, is that you work in different time zones, okay? So you've got teams in different time zones. So I'm not saying you're working 24/7, but it's going to be up to you to how you manage your team meetings, you know, how you're going to, you know, support these guys, how you're going to implement what you know needs to happen. So that's just something just to bear in mind apart from the travel. Okay, so let's talk about your journey at Wolters Kluwer. So let's talk about when you first started, because like I said, I just see big company. You know, do they have different channels, like different business units that you work in? Do they sell, you know, a bunch of different products, or is it just one product in terms of they have one sales team for the whole product? If you could just give me a little bit of background, that would be awesome.
Okay. So Wolters Kluwer has 4 divisions.
Yep.
Health, governance risks and finance, tax and accounting, and legal.
Okay.
I work for the tax and accounting division.
Okay, cool.
And it's shuffled and it changed names a few times, but basically I've been in this division since I've started almost 10 years ago. Okay. You know, I sell a software out of many. So we have around 160 softwares that I sell.
What's the piece of what's the software called?
Called Teammate. It's an internal audit software.
Teammate.
And Teammate, yes.
Okay, cool.
And it's a software geared towards internal audit, but we do have external auditors that use it. Yeah. All the OAGs, OAG Australia, OAG New Zealand, Canada, etc. Okay. So they use Teammate, and we also have Teammate Analytics. So I sell a few. It's still called Teammate, but it's in that analytics software. Yeah. That's an Excel add-in, so no need to script and things like that. Everything's in Excel because everybody knows how to use Excel, and it's meant to be in the hands of everybody versus having power users within the business that can script, and you know, like the data analytics gurus. Yes. Well, for Teammate Analytics, you don't need a guru. It's meant to be easy, and so that everybody can use it. Okay. That would be like what Wolters Kluwer is and what I sell.
Okay. All right, fantastic.
Information, or you want me to dive more?
No, that's perfect. That's fine. I've been working in accounting and finance for 20 years, so that's analytics. Don't worry about that. That's all good. Okay, so that's the software what you sell. So when you started in your role, like, was there a structured team, or was that something that division that you started up for them, or was it taking over someone's role? Like, what did it look like when you first started with them?
We were only 2 when we started. I started as a consultant for the first, I'd say, 4 months. Then they realized, this guy's good at sales. Let's do something about this. And
that's unusual. That's unusual to bring someone on as like a sales in a consulting capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I'm more sales focused than auditor, or I was a good auditor, but I think
Well, I saw that you studied I saw biology, and then like you started biology, and then you went to internal audit, and I was like, how did that that was such a swap over? Just yeah.
I mean, honestly, a career change.
Yeah.
The thing is with biology, if you want to go further in your career,
yeah,
you need a PhD. If you don't have a PhD, you'll be a lab rat.
Yeah,
you'll be working for a doctor or PhD, and you'll only be a lab rat. Maybe managing the lab at best.
Yeah, fair enough.
I didn't want to continue my studies in the field, so I decided to go in the business world. So
okay, fantastic.
That's how I made my switch.
Did you think about doing a CPA?
It was on the plans, yes.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just interested.
No, I was in a firm.
Yeah.
I was studying and doing my firm work, and I realized this is not for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
From there I went to internal audit.
Okay, cool. All right, fantastic. Okay, so you started as a consultant, decided obviously to get out of internal audit, decided as a consultant, and then obviously and there were two of you, and then what was the story next? So that was in 2011. How did it move from there?
So I actually didn't apply for the job. They came and snagged me from the government.
Mm-hmm.
We were just about to get the master contract for the federal government, and when Walter Kluwer learned that the government wanted to share me around to do the implementations, they came and snagged me from them, and that way they had to pay instead of being shared. So that's how I started at Walter Kluwer as a consultant for months, and then moved into a sales role when they realized, this guy can sell pretty much anything. So that's why I started, and then I was reporting to a manager in Canada, or Calgary,
like a country manager.
Yeah, he was doing a bit of everything.
Yeah,
and then a year and a half after that, they realized that I should be running the show and not the other person. The other person is was moved to professional services, and I took on over sales.
Okay. So that's around 2013. You kind of took on that sort of director, sort of sales position. Okay. So how did you grow the team?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what did you say? Sorry.
I said dates are like fuzzy and not official, right? So
that's fine.
I was doing it for a while, and then that's how Walter Kluwer works. It takes a long time for you to actually get your position title and things like that.
Yeah.
But if to put it largely around a year and a half after.
Okay, cool. That's perfect. And all right. Let me just say 2013, 2014. Okay, so let's talk about your journey as now the leader for this, this particular teammates and team analytics.
Is that a question?
Sorry, yes. If you could just talk to me about how you grew the team and the journey through now as the director for the sales for the teammate and team analytics.
Okay, so went and got a NAM, or National Account Manager.
Okay.
That's in Toronto. He's helping me out with all the pipeline and recruit and getting prospects. We were doing our own demos back then. Now not anymore. We have a team that does that.
Yeah.
Like sales. And then maybe a year after, got a few inside sales. Then another one. So that's how we grew the I think inside sales was lacking a teammate.
Okay.
I think back then a lot of chiefs, and not a lot of band members.
Yeah.
So that's what was happening. So decided, okay, let's have a chief, and then and then go from there. So that's the strategy that I set out for Canada.
Yeah.
Because not everybody can be a chief.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So when you built it, so you had a national account manager and you had some inside sales. What does that look like, that structure? Like how many, like how many do you have on account management? How do you have on sale? How many do you have on sales?
Sorry, it's sort of slowed down. I missed the middle part of the question.
Okay, so just wanted to find out your team structure. So how many do you have on account management and how many do you have in sales?
So my team is all sales.
All sales, okay.
But we do account management within. Okay. So it's kind of a mix role. Like inside sales, we'll do referrals and retention and all that good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And national account manager will concentrate on key accounts and make sure that the strategic or key accounts that would be the NAMs.
Okay. And so with the key accounts that they kind of account managing, how many do you have in that area?
For account management, I usually give them around 40 account or key accounts.
Okay. And how many in that team?
So for that, there's 2.
Okay, cool. 2
key accounts.
Okay, and they get like 40 accounts each. Okay, cool. Awesome. Cool. And how many on sales?
Sales.
Like core sales, BD.
Yeah, so 6 really, because the NAMs also do sales.
Okay, cool.
They have their key accounts, but they also have sales. And inside sales will handle the smaller accounts and pension and renewals and stuff like that.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about your role. So you mentioned, your role is director of sales, but you're kind of like more like a country manager. Tell me about, apart from leading the teams, what else does your role encompass? Everything from reporting to, presentations to client facing. Just give me a little overview about where you spend your time in your role.
Okay. So client facing, when the opportunity is big enough or strategic enough, I will go with the NAMs to do presentations, meeting in person. I do speaking engagements for IIA, which is the Institute of the Internal Auditors.
Yep.
I do presentations to our leadership group.
Yep.
I do then it's admin stuff like reporting on revenues, renewals, invoicing issues, collection issues, and when I need to be involved.
Okay. What sales system are you using?
CRM, you mean, or is it we're using Salesforce? Is that yeah.
Yeah.
We're using Salesforce right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I just implemented Salesforce Lightning. It's a new UI for Salesforce. It's not Salesforce Classic. It's Lightning. Revamped UI and a few functionalities. Okay,
good. Now, having a chat around client and customer success, which is really around that account management piece, so your national account managers, do you guys do NPS?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you talk me through that? Because I would have thought as the sales director, you'd be in charge of the client NPS for your division.
Yes. So we do NPSs and they track that and go after the detractors, see what's not, they have calls with them, see what's going on, see how we can help them, see pain points. We also make sure that their concerns are handled before going down further down the NPS scores. But we do that also.
Okay. Okay. And you guys cover the whole of Canada, is that right?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of the process for the NAM, so how they follow up with clients, the points of contact, is that something that comes from, I suppose, head office uniformed across the business, or is that something, that's sort of a process that you've put in place for your NAMs on how many points you want them to contact, especially, clients that have, a number of licenses and, you're looking to grow those licenses and to keep up their attention. Tell me about your retention plan.
So before being in charge, so let me back up a bit. Canada as a country, we're number 3 in regards to number of clients within my division. So we have a small team, but a lot of clients.
Yep.
And historically, we didn't get a lot of touch points with the clients. So it was, once the sale was done, it was almost see you when you need something.
Yeah.
And to me, that didn't make sense. So now we're at least having touch points with clients every quarter to make sure that their licensing needs are met, that they're not having issues or recurring issues. And if there is something, to report it, to make sure that it's reported. Unfortunately, a lot of people, when they do have issues, they don't call support. Yeah. It just, it's okay. It might not, might be a bug just like for this instance, and it might not happen again, but it does again, and they don't call support. So if they don't call support, we don't know. So having that touch point every quarter to make sure that everything's going well, actually boosted our retention rate by a full 3 points. So percent from 95 to 98%. And also cross-selling. So when we do touch points with them, we cross-sell. So we can cross-sell hosting environments. We can cross-sell teammate analytics. We can cross-sell teammate controls. So there's a multitude of products that we can cross-sell. And sometimes they just purchase one product because that's all they had in regards to budget. But when they start to learn about the new features or new products, then we cross-sell and sell additional features.
Okay, fine. All right. And with the NPS, do you work with your marketing team on that, or what sort of system are you guys using?
I believe they're using the SAP system. What's that name again? I get the reports, but X something by SAP.
Okay, I'll have a look at it. That's fine. Okay. And so marketing developed those reports for you guys?
They develop it, and then we take care of the clients when we
client side. Okay. So when they develop it, because that's one thing about marketing is that they're great with content and things like that. In terms of developing the NPS, do they work with you to develop that so they understand what it is that information you need from your clients and what your clients need?
Yes. So with me and the other country manager or sales director, they work with us to develop that, and then that's what they send out.
Okay.
So if I need something in there that will help me identify if they're having issues, it's not content related, it's not marketing related, I just need to find it so that we make sure that this that's in there.
Okay. All right, fine. What would you say is your biggest challenge in your role?
Challenge would be probably splitting my time between admin and sales.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, being responsible for Canada, there's a lot of things that are tacked on, unofficially, and that still need to be done and falls, in my lap.
Yeah.
So I think tackling that, balance between admin and sales, I think would be my biggest challenge.
Okay. Okay, fine. And what is the reporting structure like? So who do you report to? How does that work?
I report to the VP of sales, and then she has her boss, which is the CEO. So I'm down like a level.
Okay. And is that the VP of sales for Canada?
No, VP of sales globally.
Global. Okay, cool. And where are they based?
She's in Pittsburgh, but
Pittsburgh,
we're all
okay.
remote. Yeah, we're all remote.
So your whole team's remote.
Yeah, and I'm remote too. So
Okay.
I'm not in the head office in Toronto for Altus Kluwer.
Okay.
Our teammate head office is Tampa.
Yeah.
But the CEO, the vice president sales, the vice president services, they're not in Tampa. We're all dispersed, all remote.
Okay. And so your whole team, you're leading them remotely too?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Has that been a challenge, or is it quite simple because of the technology, I suppose?
No, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I miss the social aspects.
Yeah.
You're working alone in your office. Sometimes it's lonely. You're alone. You can't just go down the stairs and, hey, do you want to go for a coffee, or at the break or something, or go grab. They're miles away or kilometers away. You guys work in kilometers, so so they're far away, and so I think that, to me, that's my biggest challenge. I'm a people person, and that's what I miss the most from working at home. Is just people, my regular staff, and so.
Okay. So you're based in Ottawa. Okay, so you're probably going to have to educate me on this. So how far is that from Toronto?
5 hours.
Okay. Okay, so relocation would have to happen.
Yes, 5 hours driving.
Okay. So before I tapped you on the shoulder, was Toronto on the cards?
You mean for job-wise?
Yes,
It's not out of the cards. It's I think it depends on the position, the opportunity. It's I wouldn't move for an executive position, or account executive position. It depends. It depends on. I think I wouldn't consider it for anything lowest, or lower than probably a VP or something.
Okay, cool.
What I'm trying to say is it needs to be a step up, right? If it's not a step up, then it's not worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in order for you to move, like if we build this into your notice period, so your notice period, what would be 4 weeks?
No, legally 2 weeks. That's all I need to live in Canada. It's 2 weeks. I'd probably give 3. Just to be nice.
3.
We're good Canadians. We're not, probably around 3.
3. And how much time would you need to move? Because you need to tag that on as well.
That's it depends on what you find, and if you find quick and.
So if we put you on, say, 8 weeks notice.
Yeah,
that should be all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be about that.
Okay, including move.
Yeah, including move. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Including move, just give you time to kind of settle in. Okay. All right. Fine. And the travel, that's not a problem at all. The international travel.
No.
Okay. Cool.
I have my passport ready to go.
Okay. Cool. Have you worked in Toronto before?
I have. A long time ago when I was. I'm still young, but
you're still young.
I'm still young. But when I got out of biology, my first job being an on-road chemist for a company in Toronto.
Yeah.
So I have worked in Toronto for about a year.
Which place is colder, Ottawa or Toronto?
Ottawa.
Okay.
Ottawa is cold.
I won't be going there.
uh, right now we're having a big snowstorm. So
Oh, really?
I was actually for like, I hope we don't, lose power or something. It's
Yeah.
the computer would work, but my router wouldn't. So
Oh my goodness.
no, it's we're having a big snowstorm. My snowbanks are probably, 5, 6 feet.
So how do you get out of your house to go even meet clients? Like,
Well, I
is
mean,
it all
we have
done VC?
snowblowers and we have the infrastructure to do it, right? So
Okay.
if you take a look at no, Toronto's good too, but if you take a look at the south of the U.S., when it snows over there, everything shuts down. I mean, they
Yeah.
don't have the infrastructure to remove snow. They have to let it melt, and people don't have snow tires and things like that, right? So we have the infrastructure for it. We have snow blowers. We have
Yeah.
big snow plows and dump trucks and to remove the snow. I have snow tires on my vehicle. So, I mean, we're equipped for it. It's not
Yeah.
great. It's not fun,
Yeah.
but we're equipped.
Gosh, anything below 25 degrees and I've got a jacket on. I'm like, this is too cold.
Well, you're talking about 25 degrees Celsius.
Celsius, yeah.
God.
I wouldn't cope there. It's just no, it's too cold. All right, great. So, all right, what I want to get from you now is we talked about notice period. Any holidays planned in the next 12 months?
Not officially planned.
Okay.
We're thinking about a few things, but not
Okay.
officially.
Okay, cool. So with the move, do you need to relocate, for instance, a whole family, kids, schools, things like that?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be a whole relocation. Okay, so now that's the next questions is super important. Have you spoken to your partner about potential relocation? Because that's normally the clincher. It's not your decision. It's
Oh,
it's
I made sure of that because I mean, I don't want to waste your time or my time. And if
yeah.
I didn't get the green light from the boss, then
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
no, no,
Okay. So the relocation is fine. Okay. That's fine. Just want to double check that. All right. So as I mentioned, we have got the VP of Client Success. Now, if I can get you an interview with the CEO, which I'll be presenting to him tomorrow, don't be surprised if he does mention potentially the country manager role. Okay. It's not something they're recruiting right now. It's at the top of his mind. Whether this role progresses into that role or whether he hires, it's really going to be down to the person that he meets. Okay. So just that, and that'll be a whole different salary package, etc. I'm not sure what that looks like. Like I said, haven't started recruiting that. The way he interviews, he looks at someone and goes, okay, if they're not great for this or they're too good for this, whatever, where else can I put them? And that's how he works, like in terms of, he doesn't want to lose someone that's good. He needs to make sure that there is, and the company's growing so much, so the positions are changing all the time. When I say changing, there's more positions coming on all the time. I just spoke to him last night. He's like, I'm going to need a VP of this, and now I need another 3 roles here. And I'm like, okay. So it's moving very, very, very quickly. So relocation's good for you. So that client, let's just talk about the client success channel. Are you comfortable with that client success channel?
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, it is a global role. It's part of the executive team. The travel's not a problem. That's always a big key. That's fine.
I think my wife's happy when I'm not there.
Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. See the travel.
Traveling is not an issue.
Okay, cool. That's fine. Okay. Now salary, the remuneration we were looking at for this role was around 150 Canadian plus the bonus, which is maximum of 40% on. Like I said, if he does in the interview, just be open-minded, speak about a country manager role, that will be renegotiated up. Okay. So that's just for, sorry?
That would be lower, no? Or higher?
The country manager.
Yeah. Would that be a higher or lower?
I don't have the PD and I don't have the scope for it. I would have thought that I don't know if it's how it's going to sit in their structure.
Okay, I guess it depends how it sits in the structure. Yeah.
That's it. It all depends. So, I don't know how that's going to sit in its kind of structure at the moment. So, and how that would be bonus. But I'm just saying he could, and that would be renegotiated, that salary. Okay. So I just need to make sure you're happy with that. I did obviously speak to him about obviously trying to increase that 150. He said, listen, let's say it's this salary for the first year. Okay, we need to get someone in there. We need to get, the team up and running. We need to get some global processes in place across all the account management teams. And we need to get someone embedded, know that they can obviously do the role. So this role is very much like 100% client focused, really passionate about a client journey and client experience. Okay. Yeah. And that's what he's going to look for, is that really trying to figure out, like, what are those pain points, really trying to figure out how can we help our customer more? What can we be doing more? This role is very much about that client journey. We have a VP of growth that's going to concentrate on that sales on a global basis. This is client retention, NPS, client engagement. Okay. So with your permission, I would like to obviously present you tomorrow, if you are still good to go with that.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, good, fantastic. Is there anything else that you want to let me know about, or you'd like to add in terms of that kind of client success channel that I haven't covered that you think would be quite beneficial?
Well, are they using something right now, or are they actually putting something in place?
So they do do have an NPS at the moment. Like we're receiving a client, so I think it's coming out next week. So there is something in place. It just needs to be better. They have AMs already. They have AMs in Australia and the Philippines and a couple in San Diego. It'll be building the team in Toronto, so it'll only be about 4 or 5. Obviously, it's an office-based role, aside from when you're traveling, and probably about maybe 3 AMs, 2 salespeople, or vice versa. But it's really having a look at what Australia are doing, Philippines are doing, San Diego's are doing, reviewing that, making it better, making sure they're listening to the clients, and then rolling that out on a uniform basis. And then that role is constantly working on the strategy of the client success on a global basis. Now, there's potential between you and me that in 18 months, London's opening. So this, like I said, is not just a Canadian-based role. It's a global role. So the AMs from the UK will report into this role as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that works. Yeah. I'd say I'd like to see it, what it looks like, if they're using an actual software or not. I'd like to see that also, or is it more like a survey going out with SurveyMonkey or something like that?
No. It's a little bit more advanced than that. I don't know what they're using at the moment. It's not CX, but they are. I'm not sure what it is, but it's not SurveyMonkey. I mean, they've got. I don't know the number of clients even now, but they've got 1,000. They've got 1,200 people working for clients at the moment. Okay, that are already seat leased, and it's constantly growing. So, if you could say between that 1,200, there's probably about, maybe let's just say 300 clients.
Okay. Oh, all right.
It's still it's still big scale, like it's big scale transaction. The sales, for instance, you might have someone who says, I need one person to join my team, and then by the end of 3 months they have 5 people because they realize how effective it is. And these are all just so that these are all accountants. So the Philippines, it's all accountants. That it's not contact center, call center, it's all accountants. Yeah.
I'm more amazed that in the Philippines they can adapt to all the different standards worldwide and things like that. That's amazing.
It is. I mean, customers request different things. So, like for instance, a customer might want to say, okay, we're an Australian. We're Australian tax, I want someone to do this level of transaction work. I want this person to just do the up to trial balance bookkeeping. And then they hire people for different areas of the business so they can spend more time with clients, more on advisory, more like, really kind of assisting that client from that advisory and planning perspective. So it's just giving them that freedom to be able to do that. And then in the Philippines, you've got now some of the accountants, the qualified accountants, are actually qualifying an Australian CPA as well. So they're constantly being educated on the different laws, and their clients are investing in them as well, because they're permanent employees. They seat lease, but they're still permanent employees of the client. So my team, TOA, have the whole infrastructure, and I pay for a seat lease, but the teams of permanent employees of mine, so I'm responsible for their development, their performance, and etc. Yep.
Who handles things like IFRS? Is that handled by them also?
For clients?
Yeah, like if you have to adopt to IFRS or even on the privacy side, like GDPR, are they handling that too?
Yeah. So let's talk about it from two sides. So from TOA as a company, and then the employees working on behalf of the client. So from IFRS, don't forget that the client. So let's just say I don't know, Deloitte. Let's just say I'm Deloitte. Whoever I have in the Philippines is obviously a permanent employee of Deloitte. So they need to have the skills to be able to do the work for Deloitte. So if they don't have the skills, Deloitte might train them up in that specific sector. Okay. So that's just an example. But if it's at a standard where it needs an onshore person, then Deloitte will use their onshore team to do that. So all it's doing is it's freeing up a lot of the kind of transaction, bookkeeping sort of basic work, so that especially the SME accounting firms can actually spend more time business developing, growing their client base, being that advisory person. So, and every accountant in the Philippines obviously has a different kind of strength. So like for instance in South Africa, in Australia, we have superannuation, which is like the equivalent of a pension fund. So we have superannuation experts, and so in the Philippines, when you're hiring for that, you look for a superannuation expert, and so that's who they hire. So it's so they all have their niches. For instance, analytics, you can get commercial analysts, and and business analysts and things like that. So it just depends on where you are. From TOA's perspective, from a global accounting standard, I'm actually, like I think I mentioned, I'm hiring a VP of finance for the Toronto now, who will look after the tax structure, as well as the business partnering with the VP of client success and the VP of growth, and also manage an offshore team of their own, which is 30 people in the Philippines.
Okay. Wow. No, I think it's a good business model. I was impressed when I saw the videos and reading up on it. I think it's a great business model.
Yeah. The Philippines is amazing. Like the people there are absolutely amazing. I spent a lot of time there, and like from a business perspective for Australia, so this is that you will have for the US, for the North America, they'll be working their night shift to cover the US territory, because for us in Australia, the Philippines is only two hours behind us.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so it's 2 hours behind us. They all English speaking. They're super, super nice people, super hardworking, and really just value having a really good person to work with and a really good employer and someone that really values them. And then they just give you gold. Like, it's amazing. Yeah.
We just had a kickoff meeting in Phoenix, and it's funny that you say that, because they told me to go and manage the Asia Pac team.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we did like role plays and things like that, and I had to manage the Asia Pac team. So and they're great people. I loved it.
Yeah, it's really, really, really good. So you can just say to your wife, for holidays, you can go work, and she can just travel while you're there.
Oh, that no. Yeah.
All right, brilliant. Well, listen, Martin, leave this with us. You'll have feedback from me Monday, Tuesday latest.
Okay.
Like I said, I can get you now in the door, and then the rest is up to you.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Awesome. Yes. Fabulous. All right, brilliant. Listen, I'll chat to you next week, okay?
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks so much. Bye.